Hi, I'm Paula from Tantrums.com, and today I'm going to talk to you about a very important subject, and that is how do you help your toddler adjust to a new baby. So the best way to approach this is the things you have to do before baby arrives, and then the things that you do and you implement after the baby arrives. So let's start with the things that you can do before the new baby arrives. You need to get your toddler ready for this new arrival. We have to understand that it is going to be a huge adjustment for your precious little one who's been the centre of your world and their own for a very long time in their world. And now all of a sudden this new baby is going to come along and take up lots of your time. So don't assume that your toddler's going to take to this kindly. And that's where you come in. You have to prepare them for what's about to happen. So one of the first things you can do is you can read books about baby coming into a family. There are some great books out there that cover that subject, and sitting with you and reading the book with you and being able to ask questions if need be is a great way to open the subject. Next thing, you must talk about the baby. Tell them what's going to happen. Make it very clear how lovely it's going to be for them and how happy you were when they were about to arrive into the world and how you were looking forward to having them as a new baby, and now you want them to enjoy this new baby with you so that they are part of the experience. Involve them in getting ready for the baby. So if you are buying new things, or you could say to them, do you think the baby would like this toy? What do you think of this? Just get them involved. They can help you put away the baby clothes, getting ready, putting the nappies ready. There's so much you can do to include them in the whole process and make it fun. So you're really looking forward to it. So they'll pick up on your joy and your energy. And that's a great time to do it then, because you're going to be tired when the newborn baby comes home. So now is the time when you've got all that time and energy to spend with your toddler and get them used to this whole new stage in their life. Another thing that's very important is don't blame your bump. I know that you are going to maybe not feel like getting down on the floor, but be creative with your excuses. Don't say, oh, mummy can't play because she's tired because of the baby. Mummy can't play because she can't get down on the floor anymore because the baby's coming. You have to come up with some other reasons why. I encourage them to come up on the sofa with you, for instance, and sit next to you. Sit at a table together to play the games that they used to like playing with you. Just to avoid blaming your bump and blaming the pending baby for the reason that you can't do the things with them that you always used to. Another thing to take into consideration is I would not advise going through a major milestone development like potty training or moving from a crib to a bed too close to the baby's arrival. You've either got to have this done and dusted several weeks or months, a couple of months before baby turns up, or you have to stall it and leave it for a while after a baby's born until you know that your toddler is comfortable with the new setup in the family, and then you can start tackling those things. It's very important that a huge change in your toddler's life does not coincide with baby's arrival, because in their head, if they're struggling with that change, they're going to blame the baby, and that's not what you're aiming for here. So now we can talk about the next stage, and that's bringing baby home. The most important thing is to keep an eye on your toddler. Toddlers have different personalities, like we all do, and some are going to absolutely love having a newborn baby around. They're going to want to touch them, play with them, matter of fact, they might be too enthusiastic. Others are going to be really put out about this new arrival. They're going to be jealous, they're not going to be happy. So it's up to you to sense what's going on with your toddler. Hopefully, if you've done all the things that I've mentioned earlier, then they are going to be ready for this baby to arrive, and they're going to be more accepting. The most important thing is to encourage and praise. Toddlers are very needy in the encouragement and praise department. They want to feel loved and cherished, and they do not want to feel sidelined at all. So get them involved in looking after the baby. Send them to fetch a nappy. Ask them what toy they think the baby might like. Show them how to play with the baby. You can play together. When you're nursing the baby, they can sit next to you with the book, because when you're feeding a baby, that's one of the times when your toddler's going to feel quite left out. So you're going to have to be quite adaptable. This is going to be a lot more exhausting than it was first time around, trust me. Having a toddler and a baby is a big job, but having had a baby already, at least you will have practiced that part. So now you've got to get used to balancing having two children, it can be tough, but you can do it. Don't blame the baby for not being able to do things. For instance, if the baby needs a nap, don't say we can't go for a walk because the baby's sleeping. Say things like, guess what? Why don't you and I play this game while baby's sleeping? And when they wake up, we can then go outside or we can go to the park, so that they've got something to look forward to. You're going to have to make an exchange for any reason why they can't do what they want to do because of the baby. It mustn't be because of that. So be very careful not to blame baby's arrival for the sudden change in the way their day normally runs. And don't tell them to keep quiet. I'm a great believer in not having a silent house when you bring a newborn home. The womb is a very noisy place, and so newborn babies are actually used to noise, and your toddler's not going to want to keep quiet. I do not know a toddler that's going to quite happily keep quiet. So you're going to have a noisy house. Let your newborn get used to it. It's fine, because you do not want to be having a constant battle with your newborn saying, be quiet, baby's sleeping. Be quiet, you can't do this, you can't play the drums, you can't get your musical instrument out. I mean, within reason, you can try and just divert them and ask them to do something quiet, but don't be paranoid about having a silent house, and definitely don't blame the baby for that. Another great thing to do, and you've got a toddler, is baby wearing, because then if you've got a baby that doesn't want to settle and you're trying to do that as well as entertain your toddler, then strap your baby on, because your baby will be very happy in the early weeks being attached to you, and they will fall asleep and it'll be easy for you to feed them, but you'll still have two hands free in order to deal with your toddler. So it's a great way to manage both of them, especially in the early weeks. So when it comes to how your toddler handles your baby or is getting near to the baby and they'll want to touch them, they'll learn by example. So teach them soft touches. Allow them to touch the baby, but show them how. Say, this is what you can do and this is what you can do. Or the baby really likes it if you do this. Also, tell them that the baby likes them. So say, oh, the baby only smiles when you come over and show them that rattle, or the baby loves seeing you do that, so that they think that the baby likes them too. That's also very important. And give your toddler extra love. They are going to be feeling slightly left out no matter how perfectly you've run this whole thing. Tell them you love them a lot. Give them lots of cuddles and praise, and just make them feel extra special. Another great trick is to give them a toy, like a stuffed animal or a doll, either just before baby comes or when baby comes home, and so they can care for this toy alongside you caring for the baby. Get them a little stroller so that when you go out for a walk, they can take their toy or their little baby doll for a walk as well. Let them mimic what you were doing with the baby. You can even get them little nappies to put on, all sorts of things. It's endless. But another great tip is to make sure that you have a double stroller or buggy, or one of those that has a platform where your toddler can stand so they don't have to walk all the time. I will guarantee that your toddler will decide they can't walk very far as soon as you are pushing a baby. This is very, very normal, and you do not want to have your toddler throwing a tantrum or doing that whole thing where they just drop their weight and you cannot get them to stand anymore. Make sure that you are able to get both of them into a stroller or buggy in some shape or form when you're going for a walk. Your toddler might regress. Be prepared for this. If they're seeing baby behaviour getting lots of attention, they might think, oh well, if I act like a baby, I'm going to get more attention as well. If they do, be patient. Don't reprimand them for regressing. Just encourage them to do the things that they normally do. And also make them feel good about being the older brother and sister. Make them feel proud of being protective and saying, look what you can do to help the baby. And the baby can't wait to grow up and be like you and be able to do this and that. And you've got to try to flip it on its head and try and encourage them to believe that what they can do is brilliant and that their little baby brother or sister is going to look up to them and want to do it too. So quite a tricky situation you might have to find yourself dealing with is if your toddler is being rough towards the baby, hitting them, handling them quite roughly. This is quite common, but you have to deal with it quickly, swiftly, and very clearly. You have to remove your toddler and say, if you want to spend time with the baby, then you have to be kind, because in this family we're all kind to each other and we all treat each other nicely. It's clear, it's a behavioural thing. You wouldn't put up with them hitting you, you wouldn't put up with them hitting the dog, you wouldn't put up with them hitting anybody, and you certainly don't put up with them hitting the baby. So it's not so much about hitting the baby, it's just about you can only be with us if you're going to be kind, and leave it at that. They'll get the message eventually. Finally, try and arrange with family help that you get to spend some one-on-one time with your toddler. They are going to still need that special time with you. Obviously, it's not just the two of you anymore during the day. So you have to make a plan with family members, with your partner, that you get to spend some one-on time with your toddler and they take the baby away for a walk or feed them while you can bath your toddler, have that bedtime story, have that close bonding time that you always used to. You just have to build it into your week or your day that you're still spending that one-on-one time so they just feel as special as they always have done. So I hope you found this video helpful and given you lots of ideas about how you can help your toddler adjust to a new baby. If you've got any ideas yourself that I've not mentioned, or any questions that you'd like answered on the subject, then drop a comment below. So don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and if you don't want to miss any more of my parenting tips, then don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, happy parenting.